You could hear the hoofbeats pound as they raced across the ground, and the clatter of the wheels as they spun round and round. And he galloped into Market Street, his badge upon his chest. His name was Ernie, and he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. Now Ernie loved a widow, a lady known as Sue. She lived all alone in Lily Lane at number 22. They said she was too good for him. She was haughty, proud and chic. But Ernie got his cocoa there 3 times every week. They called him Ernie. And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. She said she'd like to bathe in milk. He said, all right, sweetheart. And when he'd finished work one night, he loaded up the cart. He said, you want it pasteurised, 'cause pasteurised is best. She says, Ernie, I'll be happy if it comes up to me chest. That tickled old Ernie. And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. Now Ernie had a rival, an evil-looking man called Two-Ton Ted from Teddington, and he drove the baker's van. He tempted her with his treacle tarts and his tasty oatmeal bread, and when she seen the size of his hot meat pies, it very near turned her head. She nearly swooned at his macaroon, and he said, now if you treat me right, you'll have hot rolls every morning and crumpets every night. He knew once she sampled his layer cake, he'd have his wicked way, and all Ernie had to offer was a pint of milk a day. Poor Ernie! And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. One lunchtime, Ted saw Ernie's horse and cart outside her door. It drove him mad to find it was still there at 4:30. And as he leapt down from his van, off blood through his veins did course, and he went across to Ernie's cart and he didn't half kick his horse, whose name was Trigger. And he pulled the fastest milk cart in the West. Now Ernie rushed out into the street, his gold top in his hand. He said, if you want to marry Suzy, you fight for her like a man. Oh, why don't we play cards for her, he sneeringly replied. And just to make it interesting, we'll have a shilling on the side. Now Ernie dragged him from his van, and beneath the blazing sun, they stood there face to face, and Ted went for his bun. But Ernie was too quick, things didn't go the way Ted planned, and a strawberry-flavoured yoghurt sent it spinning from his hand. Now Suzy ran between them and tried to keep them apart, and Ernie pushed her aside and a rock cake caught him under his arch. And he looked up in pained surprise, and the concrete hardened crust of a stale pork pie caught him in the eye, and Ernie bit the dust. Poor Ernie! Ernie! And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. Ernie was only 52. He didn't want to die. But now he's gone to make deliveries in that milk round in the sky, where the customers are angels and ferocious dogs are banned, and a milkman's life is full of fun in that fairy dairy land. But a woman's needs are manifold, and Sue, she married Ted. But strange things happened on their wedding night as they lay in their bed. Was that the trees a-rustling, or the hinges of the gate, or Ernie's ghostly gold tops a-rattling in their crate? They won't forget Ernie. Ernie! And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. Anna Marie, the girl I adore. Anna Marie, the one I live for. I've traveled the world, o'er land and sea. I'll never find one like Anna Marie. We went to the open-air theatre one summer's night in the park. Soon I had to excuse myself, and I wandered off in the dark. I got back to my seat next to her. I'd not been gone more than a minute. I said, how was the show? She said, you ought to know, you silly great fool, you were in it. Oh, but Anna Marie, you're the girl I adore. Anna Marie, you're the one I live for. I've traveled the world, o'er land and sea. I'll never find one like Anna Marie. She invited me round for my birthday to show me just how she could cook. She made some flaky pastry. It tasted like a wet book. But she had to admit that the cake that I bought really wasn't too bad. She said she liked the 28 candles that were on the slice that she had. Oh, but Anna Marie, you're the girl I adore. Anna Marie, you're the one I live for. I've traveled the world, o'er land and sea. I'll never find one like you, Anna Marie. She said, now we're alone, let's get cozy. I'll put something more comfortable on. And I sat there biting my fingernails for the full half an hour. She was gone. The door burst open, she stood there with all of me mates from the docks. And they all sang happy birthday to you, and all I had on was me socks. Oh, but Anna Marie, you're the girl I adore. Anna Marie, you're the one I live for. I've traveled the world, o'er land and sea. I'll never find one like you, Anna Marie. There are 9 carats to remind me of the ring I bought for you. Some mint for all the crazy things we meant to do. A lettuce, 'cause your mum and dad would not let us alone. I won't put in the truffles, you've got truffles of your own. An artichoke for the hearty jokes your father used to tell. And as he was a Welshman, we'll have a leek as well. And your cousin, the religious one, so sanctimonious. For him some loaves and fishes, 'cause it's all he ever does. And there's a heartache and a memory and just a tear or two in a broken-hearted lover's stew. There is a radish, 'cause you kept repeating that your love was true. A beetroot for the way I said that I'd be true to you. Some shallots for the times I said I love you such a lot. Some capers to remind me of what up to which we got. A turnip for the way you always used to turn it late. A melon for the melancholy way I used to wait. A chili for how I felt while I waited for you. And a marrow to remind me of what I was frozen to. And there's a heartache and a memory and just a tear or two in a broken-hearted lover's stew. There is a Swede to remind me of the man you left for me. An egg because you used to egg me on incessantly. And your little baby brother, what a messy little kid. For him some wine and water, 'cause it's all he ever did. Oh, I was fond of olives, and you liked herbs, I know. I gave up seeing Olive, but Herb didn't want to go. So for the man who won you, there is one thing I must do. Put in some sage and onions, 'cause he wants stuffing too. And there's a heartache and a memory and just a tear or two in a broken-hearted lover's stew.
Oh, pooh!
Colleen, Colleen, oh, I'm aching for you. Colleen, Colleen, my heart's breaking for you. The clothes that she wears, they leave no doubt of the lovely figure she's got. And when she's wearing slacks, you can see that on her they are not. And when she goes walking down the street, the view that you get from the back reminds you of a couple of ferrets are trying to get out of a sack. Colleen, Colleen, oh, I'm aching for you. Colleen, Colleen, my heart's breaking for you. I used to part me hair down the centre, she said that was too severe. So just to please her, I parted it across from ear to ear. Now how do you like me new hairstyle? I asked me Irish Rose. Oh darling, you look marvellous, she whispered up me nose. Colleen, Colleen, oh I'm aching for you. Colleen, Colleen, my heart's breaking for you. We took me bald-headed Uncle Bert to the cinema for a treat. He lost his teeth and he searched for them underneath her seat. Colleen, she looked down and she saw the bald head of my Uncle Bert. She thought it was her kneecap and she covered it with her skirt. Colleen, Colleen, oh, I'm aching for you. Colleen, Colleen, my heart's breaking for you. Now we've married and we've settled in a cottage in Rabout. The bed it is all broken and the springs are sticking out. But when I recall our nights together, me heart it wants to sing. We kissed all through the winter and made love right through the spring. Colleen, Colleen, oh, I'm aching for you. Colleen, Colleen, my heart's breaking for you. Why do they call her evil when she's oh so kind and so good? My heart belongs to Rachel, the gypsy in the wood. Oh, let us play at hide and seek. One day she gaily cried. Now close your eyes and count to 50 while I go and hide. And if you find me, I will let you have your way with me. And if you cannot find me, I'll be right behind that tree. Why do they call her evil when she's oh so kind and so good? My heart belongs to Rachel, the gypsy in the wood. I said, suppose you fell in the river and were drowning one hot day. Now would you tear your clothes off so that you could swim away? She said, oh, I'd keep my blouse on. That's the method I'd employ, 'cause the air gets underneath it and it acts just like a boy. Why do they call her evil when she's oh so kind and so good? My heart belongs to Rachel, the gypsy in the wood. She said, now if a snake should bite you, don't you worry, scream or shout. Just call my name and I'll be there and I'll suck the poison out. I said, suppose I sit on one and he gets me in the end. She said, that's when you'll find out that I'm a real true friend. Why do they call her evil when she's oh so kind and so good? My heart belongs to Rachel, the gypsy in the wood. Oh, Rachel, I found you with your lover down by the cabbage patch. His hair was long and black and he had fingernails to match. Oh, you promised you would be faithful, but you cheated and you were untrue. Still, if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it all over you. Now I know why they call you evil. You're wicked and you're no good. No more will I see Rachel, the gypsy. I think I've done myself a mischief. Of the world. He saw her in her bathing suit as she lay upon the golden sand. She said, I suppose that you're admiring my arms and legs because they are tanned, but there's parts of me that you can't see, and they're all white, old thing. He said, I bet they're better than all white. I bet they're absolutely ravishing. She brought her mom a chaperone, 'cause you know what people say, a girl's not safe all on her own. on the beach at San Tropez. She showed him a snap of her. He said that bear midriff's not very chaste. She said that's not a bear midriff, that's Jacques' bare arm around my waist. He put his glasses on and then he stared at the snap a little more. Then he said, I knew I'd never seen you wear a wristwatch there before.
She bought him a chaperone.
Cause you know what people say, a girl's not safe all on her own, on the beach at San Tropez. Very soon they were good friends, and one day he taught her how to swim. First the breaststroke, then the crawl, while she clung on tight to him. Then Mama came down the promenade. She saw them and cried, oh dearie me, if you're going to carry on like that, you'd better both go into the sea. She bought her mom a chaperone, cause you know what people say, a girl's not safe all on her own, on the beach at San Tropez. Ma said, now you're 17. It is time you knew what's what. So they talked about the facts of life, and her mother learnt an awful lot. She said, never let him in your room. She remembered what Mama had said, and she never let him in her room. She went along to his instead. She brought her ma a chaperone, cause you know what people say, a girl's not safe all on her own, on the beach at San Tropez. And so Mama sent her home, for she feared that she might go astray. Then one day she got a note from her boy in San Tropez, but the contents of the note he wrote made her feel so very sad. He said, today I married your Mama, yours with fond affection, Dad. So all you lovely British girls, listen carefully to what I say. Bring your sister, not Mama, when you come to San Tropez. Now it was just 10 years ago, when I was 17, I came to the city, searching for a dream. Now I wandered down into Soho. They said it was always done at 3 o'clock in the morning, in search of innocent fun. But I wish I heeded the warning I got from my ma and pa. They said, son, keep away from the girls of the Suzy bar. Now the ladies inside, they play all kinds of games, said the girl at the door with pride. I thought she meant games like tiddlywinks, so I ventured inside. She said some of them are naughty girls, and ooh, that started me thinking I might catch one of them having a tiddle when she ought to be winking. Oh, I wish I heeded the warning I got from my ma and pa. They said, son, keep away from the girls of the Suzy bar. Now Suzy, she came and she sat next to me. Her complexion was just like a rose, but I couldn't help noticing a little mark across the bridge of her nose. She said, that mark that you're staring at, why, it was caused through glasses, my dear. I said, why don't you use contact lenses? She said, they don't hold enough beer. Oh, I wish I heeded the warning I got from my ma and pa. They said, son, keep away from the girls of the Suzy bar. Now Suzy, she took me upstairs to a room and she handed me the key. She said, this room's to be let as it stands, with all that you can see. And are you to be let with the room, said I in the most ambiguous tone. She said, I am not to be let with the room, I'm to be let alone. Oh, I wish I heeded the warning I got from my ma and pa. They said, son, keep away from the girls of the Suzy bar. Oh, that was oh so many years ago. Now Suzy, she is my wife, and I've often said that the day that we wed was the happiest day of my life. Why, I gave the preacher a £5 note. He looked at me kinda strange, and then he saw my Suzy, and he gave me £4.10 change. But I'm glad I ignored the warning I got from my ma and pa, 'cause now I'll live a life of ease. I smoke a big cigar, I ride in a big fast car, I'll live just like a czar, on champagne and caviar, and those beautiful, wonderful girls of the Suzy Bar. Now if you're feeling miserable, if you're feeling blue, here's a little ditty that'll help to pull you through. All the clouds will disappear, the grey skies turn to blue. Just stick your finger in your ear and go ting-a-ling-a-loo. Not difficult, is it? Now suppose you got the fell pest, the gout and goose's cough, a severe attack of hiccups, and your kneecaps just dropped off. The surgeon says we'd operate, but the anaesthetic's gone. You just look up and smile at him and say, you carry on. I'll stick me finger in me ear and go ting-a-ling-a-loo. Me finger in me ear and go ting-a-ling-a-loo. I'll be just like Nelson at the Battle of Waterloo. I'll stick me finger in me ear and go ting-a-ling-a-loo. Now in 1439, war raised its ugly head. The bombs, they fell on England, and one fell on my shed. But we fought and beat the Germans, 'cause we knew just what to do. We stuck our fingers in our ears and went ting-a-ling-a-loo. Prince Philip said, get your fingers out, and that cut me to the quick. We got our fingers out, but I didn't do the trick. So follow your true leaders with all your might and main. Be like Jenkins, Heath and Wilson, and stick 'em back again. Oh, stick your finger in your ear, go ting-a-ling-a-loo. Your finger in your ear, go ting-a-ling-a-loo. Remember what old Gladstone said in 1892? Stick your finger in your ear and go ting-a-ling-a-loo. I used to envy Ted. Not just the things he said, but his attitude and his crafty little ways. I mean, you might not think it, but I'm quite naive. But Teddy's, well, he's suave and he's cool and Sophie Sticketed and Blaze. I mean, you take the other day when he took that Betsy May up that pasture land just past the gravel pit. He kicked a sleeping cow. Made her get up and walk away so that she'd have somewhere warm and dry to sit. And they's alone there in that field, and she's just about to yield, and her dad turns up and starts to raise his voice. He says, is your intentions honourable or dishonourable, my man? And Ted says, what, you mean I get a choice? Similar thing happens to me a week last Saturday. I end up with a swollen, bleeding lip. I was with her big brother Ray. He says, do you know my sister May? And like a tool fool, I says, no, but thank you for the tip. And I was with that Patsy O'Toole, and in this field there's this cow and this bull, and they was, well, you can see they was friendly anyhow. I turns to her, I says, hey Pat, I wouldn't have liked to do that. She says, well, why not ask? She looks a friendly cow. Old Ted's in these here digs, and the landlady treats them like pigs. Well, you can't blame her, because they ain't exactly elite. One day she goes round the bend. She says, all right, pack your things, that's the end. Clear out, you ain't even having a bite to eat. Well, the others all goes white. But Teddy says, all right. And there's plenty of landladies could use some extra loving. I'll not be homeless long, because I'm virile and I'm strong. She says, I'm not talking to you, your dinner's in the oven. Once I had to go to loo. The train left from platform 2. I gets the hotel tired, so I undressed. In walks the chambermaid real slow, with a dress that's cut so low, if I'd have stood on tippy-toe, I could have seen her vest. She says, I just come to say goodnight and to see that you're all right, in that bed, all warm and comfortable and wide. Is there room for another in there? I looks up, I says, oh, yeah. She said, well, shut up, there's a commercial traveller outside. Old Ted meets this fancy piece in town, and Ted don't hang around. He's back inside her flat quick as a wink. She starts to pour him a gin, and then she says, now, you will tell me when. He says, right after I finish that there drink. He looks after himself, all right. Well, he stays there half the night. When he leaves, he says, I should be toddling off now, Sadie. She says, just a minute, honey, don't forget the money. He says, cool, I couldn't take money from a lady. I was telling him about Sally and that afternoon in her chalet. I tell you, that day I very near lost my heart. I says, I hope you like beer, I got a quart in. And I don't know much about courting, but come here and I'll feel your backside for a start. And she put some sun oil in me hand, and she says, oh, wouldn't it be grand if you rubbed that on me to protect me from the sun? Ted says, well, was she all white and milky, and was her skin all smooth and silky? I says, I don't know, I had my mittens on. Oh, Ted gets back the other day. 6 weeks he'd been away, staying with some woman up the West End. Then a letter arrives from me, implying explicitly a connection between me and his newfound friend. I says, now, Ted, I wants the truth. He says, well, she was a bit old in the tooth, and I suppose I should be ashamed of what I did, but I give her your name instead of mine. Is that all right? I says, fine. She just died and left me £500,000. So if anybody wants a nice bag, good-looking boy with a few crockeries. Got a lady, you know. A lady. Any nice lady? Any old lady? Everybody. De Paris voit des monuments, des statues, peut-être des cabarets avec des jolies femmes nues dedans, hein? Ça marche!
Muy buenos días, señores y señoras. En 5 minutos vamos a ver todas las estatuas del París y los monumentos y quizás las chicas guapas. No sé, pero creo, ay, madre mía.
Guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. In 5 Minuten, wir beginnen unsere ganze kleine Tour auf Paris. Wir sehen all den Statuen und all das Monumenten. Und vielleicht das ganze schöne Frau in das Kabarett. Mit der kleinen Kurse mit der großen Börsen. Ja, mit ein ganz kleines Stück Striptease. Der Busenhalter. Und der Kamipanzer. So, das ist sehr gut.
Hello, everyone. In very few minutes, we're going to start a little tour of Paris and see all the sights. I'm receiving great pleasure that you have come to see us, you know, to go around Paris. And evidently, you're going to see all the monuments. And maybe we finish up in the big hall and we see the cabarets with the beautiful and naked women. Ça marche, yeah? It's very good. And if you have any question to ask me, don't be afraid to ask, because as you can see, I speak very well all the languages.
Oba, ayo, obada, ima, soba, badada,
I held a little hand. It made my sad heart sing. It was the loveliest hand I've ever held. 4 aces and a king. I hadn't finished. 30 days hath September, April, June and November. All the rest have 31.
It's so unfair.
Just two of the many...
Roses are red and violets are blue. So goes the age-old rhyme. But I know roses are blue and violets are red. I've seen them hanging on the line.
Just three of the... of the collected poems of East End poet St. John Bossum, under the title, Life is Like a Double Bed. Why did you call it that?
Well, I've always believed that is true of life. It's probably the most profound statement I've ever made in my life, you know. All the things that like, are gone on the posterior and all that, you know, and all the phrases and all that, you know, I think it's the most meaningful thing I've ever said. Life is like a double bed.
Why?
Why what?
Why is life like a double bed?
Well, if you're going to bleed and argue about it, life ain't like a double bed. You know, don't get your knickers in a twist, love. I'm only talking, you know.
Mr. Bossum, you've got this reputation for not conforming, for being a bit of a rebel.
Yeah,
Do you feel this is due to your upbringing, your background?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Because like my whole family, we don't conform, you know. I mean, why should you? We won't be dictated to, you know. We go our own way, do our own thing. You see, I mean, that's what it's about, man, isn't it? You know. And like my mum, she's a rebel. My mum cooks with Kerrygold. And, you know, some mornings, like, when we like having coffee, we just have it, you know, just have a coffee, just like that, you know, when we don't shake the jar and listen to the grand music. Not unless if we feel like it, we do, you know, and we get that nice Jamaican lady from next door to come and, you know, jiggle about like it. You know? If we don't feel like it, you know. I mean, the thing is, you see, if you don't conform like nowadays, you know, people think there's something wrong with you, don't they? I mean, like, I got long hair, ain't I, you know? Well, you got long hair as well. I mean, you ain't a fella, are you? Anyway, I mean, they see me walking down the road with long hair, and they think, you know, they think straight away that I'm a smoke addict. Smoke addict. You know, on a pot and all that all the time, don't they? You know, then they find out my name's Bossum. Well, that's a stupid name to give a kid, isn't it? Bossum. That's neither one thing nor the other. And then when they find out I'm a poet, I mean, they think, you know, long hair and a poet, I get livid, you know, I could hit him with my handbag sometimes.
With all this ready-made entertainment available at the touch of a button, do you think there still exists within people the urge to write?
Well, all I can say to that, darling, is walls. You look at a whitewashed wall anywhere in London, it ain't whitewashed for long, is it? I mean, the grubby little pencils are out, scribbling on there. Kilroy was here. Happy New Year to all our readers. I mean, there's probably as much feeling gone into Fred Fancy's flow than the whole of Charles Dickens' Romeo and Juliet. I mean, I tell you, I've seen some lovely work. I tell you, there's a wash and brush up in Chatham. I've never read poetry like it in my life. Beautiful it is, the metre, it scans, it's poetic, you know, one or two spelling mistakes. And some of them illustrated. Lovely, shows vivid imagination and that, you know. It's a beautiful sight, it really is. You should go and have a look. Oh, you can't, can you? But it really is beautiful there.
Why do you suppose that they find inspiration in a place like that?
Whoa. The solitude, the magic of the moment. This feeling of being cut off. I mean, how can you define me in Tangerine?
Mr. Bossum, may we now have a poem from your new book?
Right, yeah, this book is called Now is the Winter of My Discotheque. And this poem sums up for me in its entirety all the superfluity of modern living and everyday affairs and all that. The soldier sat in the army jail and his mother had brought him a pudding. But the sergeant said it was against the rules, even though it was a good one. Then he saw the look in the mother's eyes and he knew she was feeling hurt. So he did a thing he thought he'd never do. He helped a soldier to desert. The soldier got hold of his pudding and he ran with it back to his cell. Then, put out your pudding for drink. He heard the sergeant yell, if you want treacle on your pudding, put it out without delay. The soldier put out his pudding, and the sergeant took it away.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure there are a lot of things which you, the viewers, must wonder about, you know, about television. I mean, take, for example, those commercials where there's a girl taking a bath or a shower. I mean, don't you ever wonder how they're made and who was there and what they were thinking? Well, I did a commercial the other day, and actually, on the set, in the studio next to us, they were doing one of these girl in the bath commercials, you know. So when I'd finished doing what I was doing, you know, I sort of casually strolled over there at 65 miles an hour. And there was a very beautiful bath set, you see, and there was a very nervous director pacing up and down, and suddenly through the doors came the most beautiful blonde-haired girl in a trouser suit you've ever seen in your life, and he went straight up to her and he said, Miss Hargreaves, ready when you are. Oh, we can't start till you're in the bath, can we? Yes, it's for the commercial, for soap. The agency told you soup. Oh, well, I do assure you it is soap. Bath soap. Yes, well, people don't take a bath with their clothes on, do they? Yes, I realise it's extra money for taking your clothes off, but I'm sure the firm would be happy to pay the extra. And if they won't, I will. I'll have a whip round amongst the lads here, you see. Oh, only the essential technicians will be here, my dear, as you can see, like the car park attendant and the canteen manager. Yes, well, don't worry, dear, because you will be under the soapy water most of the time, you see. Harry will put his hand in and froth the water all up, you see, before you get in, dear, yes. Well, of course, if it goes flat while you're in it, we'll just have to rely on Harry's self-restraint, won't we? Yes, he will be holding the handheld camera on your back most of the time, you see. Only towards the end will he come round and hold it on your face. Yes, it will be on your face. It may be shaking a little, but it will be on your face, you see. Yes? Well, if any scenes get in there that are a little bit too risque, don't worry, we will cut them out and file them, throw them away. You will, fine. Will you go and change? Righto, Harry, would you froth up the water? No, do it now, Harry, that's lovely. Right, Miss Hargreaves? Right, you are in the bath, that's lovely. Oh, you are a big girl, aren't you? Yes, just one thing, Miss Hargreaves. Would you mind taking your dressing gown off? Flop it over the side, that's lovely. All right, Harry, there's no need to froth up the water. It's frothy... You dropped your pen in there. Well, we'll just have to leave it till later, won't we? Here we go. Now, take one. That's lovely. Now, pick up the soap, dear. Cut, cut. There's no need to stand up, Miss Hargreaves. Well, why did you stand up? You found Harry's pen. Well, you can give it to him afterwards. Right, oh dear. Here we go now. Take two. That's it. Crab round. Pick up the salt. Hold it up. Hold up the soap. Right, cut. Oh, splendid. Thank you, Miss Hargreaves. You can go and change now. Oh, excuse me. Hello? Yes? Oh, I see. All right, thank you. You'll never believe this, Miss Hargreaves, but it was soup. Yes, soup. Working soup. I'm sorry. You see, I've never heard of working soup. I'd reached the age of 14 and I hadn't started courting, and my mum was getting worried about me. She says, Dad, it's time you told him all about the birds and bees. He says, the birds and bees, and he sat me on his knee. He says, now, remember Uncle Joe at that picnic a while ago where we went off into the woods with Auntie Pat? And how I chased old Riley's daughter, and what happened when I caught her? I said, yeah. He said, well, birds and bees does that. Dad works very hard indeed. Well, he got 10 kids to feed. Well, 10 and 7 nights to be precise. And we all wear hand-me-downs. And as I am the youngest and the others are all girls, it ain't very nice. Dad says, it's time that you got wed. I says, I'd rather drop down dead. He says, now, how about old Maud from Itley Down? I says, Maud, not bloody likely. She's been had by all the chaps in Itley. He said, well, Itley's really quite a little town. He says, you've got to get a wife. You can't go on enjoying life, or folks will think you're strange and start to frown. I says to him, now, look, why should I buy a book when there's a thriving lending library in the town? One day I found a friend. It was up by Badger's End. Little pigeon fell down at my feet. His feathers was flecked with red, and at first I thought he's dead. And then I knelt and I felt his little heart still beat. I cupped him in my hands and I ran home to my mam, and she said, son, I'm as proud of you as I can be. You're thoughtful and you're kind and you've got a gentle mind, and that'll do a treat for your old father's teeth. I says, you shall not touch my bird. And without another word, I took him in my room and I shut the door, and then I bathed him and I warmed him and I nursed him back to health, because you see, I'd never really had a friend before. I taught him little tricks, like playing dead and picking up sticks, and the village girls, they brought birdseed every day. Dad, you can't come in, I shout, or my birdie will fly out. But of course, I let the village girls all stay. Oh, there was Mabel from the stable and Mary from the dairy. We had a visit from our beauty queen. And that great big Betty Mavery. And she got her own aviary. Well, she got the biggest parakeets I've ever seen. Dad says you ought to let him go. The mum, she says, oh no, you just want to get some shooting practice in. But the vicar says, my son, it really isn't done, and to lock up a wild thing, well, that's a sin. One morning, when it was all still, I took him up to Badger's Hill. I lost the only little friend I had that day. Not a word I said, I just kissed his little head, and I opened my hands, and I watched him fly away. He circled up and round, and then he settled on the ground, and off he went straight up to the sky. And then I looked and I could see he was flying back to me. And then he swooped, and then he popped right in my eye. I thought, that's bloody rude. And cool, there's gratitude. I hope they never cross a pigeon with a cow. And Dad says, here, there's a caper, I'll go get a bit of paper. I says, don't be daft, he's miles away by now. Dad says, I know you lost a friend, but it's really not the end. You'll be married and have your family of your own quite soon. Well, I never said a word. But you see, that little bird had lured 18 little ravers up to my room. So if anyone's got a spare cockatoo or an old crow they don't want, I'd be very much obliged, because, you know, I can put in a good use.